What have I got?
I've stated this before in another video, I'm no gamer. However, that don't keep me from playing video games from time to time. I can jump into a game of Brawl, just don't expect me to pay hundreds of dollars in the latest tech just so I can kill zombies or whatever. But there's been one game from my youth that I continue to play today, which are the first 3 Crash Bandicoot games for the PlayStation 1. Released 20 years ago, the game about a wacky marsupial still holds up pretty well. It's solid gameplay, it's got levels with multiple ways to beating them, adding to its replayability, and for a while people have made decent arguments towards Crash Bandicoot serving as a mascot for the PlayStation. Even now, years later, Universal's developing a remastered HD version for the PlayStation 4, which many fans speculate will lead to a new game in the franchise. With all this recognition, there comes a drawback. For Crash, it's always been the handling of the IP. The original games were developed by Naughty Dog, produced under Universal Interactive, and distributed to PlayStation's parent company, Sony. So that's 3 overheads overlooking the production of these games. It got so crazy that after the first 3 games, Naughty Dog stopped developing the games, and it was up to Universal to find other developers to work on the games. As many fans speculated, all 3 had their share of disagreements towards the directions of the games, which made Crash's future back then and even now hard to imagine. So why am I talking about a PlayStation game on the cartoon Palooza? Believe it or not, the big 3 debated over the use of traditional animation in the original game, going so far as to produce a fully animated cutscene in the style of Saturday morning cartoons at the time. Recently, the animation was leaked online, leading people to believe it was a pitch toward an animated pilot, mainly because the actual animation was only a minute and a half, feeling more like an intro to a TV series than an actual pilot. The producers of the original games would confirm that it was an intended cutscene that could potentially lead to a tie-in animated series, but the third head of the Hydra, Sony, didn't like the idea of a traditional cartoon series. Sony wanted to make sure its 3D environment was what would push the game forward. Now, as somebody who's played the games for as long as I have, I agree with this. What Crash had an advantage over other games was how it managed to integrate a 2D scroller in 3 dimensions, something most developers struggled with at the time. I could see what Universal was going for since they did it for Earthworm Jim. But the game was a 2D platformer where the animation from both the game and the cartoon could be seen hand in hand. A cutscene in Crash Bandicoot like the one that was released online would feel more like Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, side by side with the Toy Story movies. It's not bad, it's just its own thing. Even the music and the animation, as catchy as it was, doesn't sync with the iconic tone of the first game.
Crash Bandicoot! If Cortex isn't beaten, he'll rain a salute!
As cool as it would have been to see a fully animated version of Crash Bandicoot, as a cutscene in the first game, it would have looked weird. A separate animated series on Fox Kids, now that could have been a neat tie-in that would have pushed the character forward as an established icon for a great system that, believe it or not, really doesn't have one. I look forward to seeing what else Universal has in store for the orange whirlwind of insanity. And just remember, it could have been worse. Seriously worse.
What could possibly go wrong?